Hola, buenos dias. This is Kai Pacho with the weekly Pele report for April 15th of 2020. I am talking to you from way out in outer space, looking over the whole solar system. Here we can see Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, Ceres, Mars, Mercury. Look at this whole thing going on. What I want to show you today is a little bit, let's move this around a little bit to see this great alignment. You see this great alignment happening right here. Yikes. I saw it on Facebook. They were talking about how Mars was, coming into this strong alignment now. But really, with the Earth here, you can see this is great. Actually, there's a great alignment here with Venus. However, let's look at it in relationship to the Earth. I like the way this goes, and I want to take it back a ways, because what we can also see is that this lineup is not just April 14th, 15th, 16th, but that it actually goes back and back and back quite some time. And if we look at this, you can see here we had, pause that for a minute. Here's an Earth. Oh, look at this. Earth, Moon, Sun, Ceres, Saturn, Pluto. This is our Saturn-Pluto conjunction that was actually exact on like January 11th, I think, right? So this is very powerful, January 11th. And we can just go forward from there to see. Watch how Mars comes around. Let's go forward now. And you can see how the Earth, Jupiter is going to come in and join the pack. Okay, and then if we move this a little bit more, here you can see, okay, now Jupiter's coming into a conjunction with Pluto, right? And look at this alignment now, boom, right? March 18th, look at that lineup. There was the Mars-Jupiter conjunction. This is what we say with the Mars-Jupiter conjunction. And of course, if you drew a line right along here, we could say that this conjunction is just that these are all within a few degrees of each other. Let's keep going. March. Okay. I slowed it down a little bit, huh? That's all right. Okay, you can see Venus is coming up behind us. But now Mars has passed up Saturn. You see Mars has passed up Saturn. Mars is, now, at 14 degrees, 12, 13, 14 degrees of Aquarius. Okay, but the Earth is coming around, and there is going to be this lineup, okay? Just kind of see how this is all playing out here. Then we're going to have our Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. You see that happening. And it continues to happen. I'm going to speed it up a little bit but basically you can see this Jupiter-Saturn-Pluto conjunction is going on through the entire year of 2020. This is not just, you see that alignment there. I'm going to just speed it up a little bit. Is that too much? Okay, even from over here now, you can see still the Earth, and this is a very powerful time, okay, when they go from what's called retrograde back into being direct. Let's continue to the great Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. The great Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, you'll be seeing it here coming up, will be this alignment between the Earth, Jupiter, and Saturn. And here it comes through October, November. It's actually happening on December 21st. So I'm going to come real close here, get ready to pause this baby on December 21st. As you can see, look at this lineup happening. Okay. And 1920, boom. Yeah. You see that? Okay, December 21st, and this is the solstice, right? So there you have, this is going to be, it's very super, super, super powerful. And of course, you can see that the sun, will, as it continues on, we're going to have this alignment with the sun, Jupiter, and Saturn. Okay, all coming into this alignment. So this is what's happening. Other than that, what I wanted to show you was today, let's go back to our actual time, because there's a couple of things that this program can show us. Let's see how we can... no, I want to... go out. Okay, it's not that easy to see. But if you drew a line from the Earth to the sun, and you drew a line from the sun out to Saturn, it would be a 90-degree angle between those two. So that is what we call in astrology a square. Okay? Because if you go all the way out to the constellations, okay, you're going to have this constellation here, and from the Earth, you're going to go out through Saturn, you're going to have a whole constellation, and it's going to be 1/4 of the sky between that. You see what we're saying? I hope so. In the Paleo report, I would just say that next Tuesday, we have the Sun square Saturn. And today, April 15th, we have Sun square Jupiter. So this is a 90-degree angle here between the Earth and Jupiter. Now, something else that I want to show you, and it's a little tricky, but this is what the retrograde is like. Uh-oh, what did I do? Oh, man. Oh, jeez. I messed it up. Get out of here. Go back to the solar system. Jiminy crickets. Oh, gosh. Okay, well... yeah, that's Venus. Thank you. Let go. Now, what we want to do is the retrograde phenomena. Here's the retrograde phenomena. What you can say is that the planets are usually going direct, okay, which is they're orbiting around the sun counterclockwise. So Mars... okay, Earth to Mars, you go straight out here, it'll be the sign of Aquarius, the constellation of Capricorn. Okay, but Mars is going to go this way, so it's going to go through Pisces and then Aries, and then, so it goes counterclockwise around. But right now, we have a situation where if you draw a line between the Earth and Venus, okay, it's going right out there, okay, which is like 5, 6, 7 degrees of Gemini. Okay, now we're going to go forward with this, and since the Earth is moving in this direction, you see how Venus, if you now draw a line between Earth and Venus, okay, it's going to be up over here. So it's actually like it's going backwards. This is the retrograde phenomena. Venus is not going backwards, but when you draw a line between Venus, okay, and Earth, now and now that she's passing the Earth by, okay, she's in this retrograde motion from May 13th until June 25th. Very interesting. Do you see that? So that is how we get this retrograde motion. Venus is actually going to be in the sign of Gemini. She went into Gemini on April 4th, and she's staying there until August 8th. So you can see if we keep drawing this line, between the Earth and Venus, it's going to be right here in the same region of the, of the sky, the same, sign of Gemini, all the way up until August 8th. Still that line, even though she's gone like a quarter of a way around the sun, right? The alignment with the Earth is still going out to Gemini. I just wanted to show you that one. Yeah? And what else can we do? with this program. This is a free online program. You can do this yourself. Check it out sometime. It's solarsystemscope.com, I think. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here and look at the camera. Okay, hola. I'm really not way out in outer space. I'm actually grounded right here on Earth with the rest of you. And from Earth, what we couldn't really see in that program so much was the moon. Okay, so the moon is basically in Aquarius today, coming around, and had that conjunction with Saturn. It's coming around to Mars. Then it's going to go into Pisces on Friday, come around, conjunct with Neptune, move into Aries on Monday, and come around. It's very interesting. This week we have 7 days where there's no the third quarter square was yesterday, and the new moon in Taurus is next Wednesday. So I drew up the chart for the ingress of the sun into Taurus. We're making it through the sign of the warrior. I mean, truly, Eris, Black Moon Lilith, Chiron, and Mercury are going to still be hanging out there in fiery, dynamic Aries that wants to assert, sometimes aggressively, its opinion, its truth, its reality, right? Mercury in Aries is blunt, brash, straightforward, can be a little argumentative. I mean, we made it through last week. I said in last week's Pele report, the sun was conjoining with Eris, the goddess of discord. Right? Wham. So what happens? Okay, it's like, the internet blew up, and I don't know, about for you, but of course I receive a lot of different emails and links and watch this, and David Icke's interview with the London Reel got yanked off of YouTube, and there was this whole, suppression of information, and that brought up rebellion and revolution, and, where freedom and liberties are being denied, and I mean, so the discord was palpable. I mean, I don't know if you felt it or not, but, that last week was just like, wow, everybody's, pointing fingers and blaming and calling this and calling that, taking sides, polarizing. Okay, you're either Fox or CNN. Okay, you're either a conspiracy person. You're either a black hat or a white hat, right? I mean, it's just like, so, I just want to say that what's nice, I feel like I've got some good news this week. Yeah. This Mercury coming down through Aries is going to be in a very nice sextile to Venus in Gemini. And another nice sextile to Mars up in Aquarius, with Venus in a very nice trine to Mars. Venus, Mercury, Mars, our wonderful personal planets, okay, in harmonious relationship one to the other. And then the sun coming out of fiery dynamic warrior Aries into Taurus. Right? So just, you look at, check out that chart. You can, rewind, go back, and you just kind of look at that chart if you're, into the astrology of it all. But let's look at a little bit, about what that means. For me, it's saying a lot here. This retrograde Venus in Gemini, okay, for over 4 months. She's gone past 5 degrees 20 minutes. She's going to go up to 15, and she's going to come back to 5 degrees 20 minutes. And so she's already kind of in, what they call the shadow here, right, where she is going to be revisiting these degrees. So Gemini, it's just so perfect, isn't it? The twins, Okay, and the twins are looking at things from two different perspectives, and looking at two different angles, two different ways, two different possibilities. And very often Gemini is caught between Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, between one foot in heaven and one foot in hell, the beauty and the beast. Gemini is kind of always, really evaluating, weighing, receiving information from both sides. Sometimes it's two different relationships with two different people that, and they have to weigh, they have to balance. And this is why it has to do with this curiosity. Right? Gemini, this is an air sign ruled by Mercury. Let's read about it, think about it, investigate it, explore it. I'm curious to know this side and that side, and I want to just encourage everybody to look at both sides. Listen to both. Okay, this is a time, like I say in the mantra, where, it's not known. We've come into a new, virus. It's a new flu season. It's a new, whether it was, man engineered or came from the natural world, or it's not known. And that fear, that uncertainty of this not knowing, of course, creates insecurity. So this is a time of insecurity. This is a time of doubt. And this is a time where this insecurity and doubt can lead to not trusting our leaders, not trusting the government, not trusting the World Health Organization, not trusting the scientists, not trusting the pharmaceutical or the Bill Gates or the people with money or the, even the doctors and the nurses. It's just like, this is paranoia. Paranoia is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is very strong in Pisces right now. And this is a time where we can go into, phobias, fears that can lead us into this backing. It's like I am, when I confront disillusionment, and something breaks my trust, or this, I find out that this person I believed in is no longer righteous, or this, that disillusionment is a long process that needs to, that we need to move through in order to regain trust. And that's why I just want to kind of really point out, myself, I was following David Icke 20 years ago, man. I was, reading all up on his stuff. I went and saw him in Mount Shasta, and he did his whole, slide presentation of, he's basically been saying a lot of the same kind of stuff for a long period of time, especially after 9/11 and this kind of thing about, the Illuminati and the Cabal. And, his story has evolved as there's more, information here, there, and everywhere. But it was very interesting because last night I was also given this link to another film that really went into, I'll try to put the link down in the notes if I can find it again, but it was really all about Hollywood. It's all about Hollywood and how Washington, D.C., going back into the 50s and, by, the Kennedys and, way before that. It's just like the CIA and the government, has been, really influencing the movies and the movie industry. And that our children, and we as children, have been groomed. And a lot of our conditioning, our social conditioning, it's not just been parents, teachers, and preachers. It's been the telly. Yeah, so we've received a lot of messages, subtle messages, unconscious messages, super blips on the screen or whatever, and just how this person wins and that person loses, and the good guys and the bad guys, and it's a very in a way oversimplified reality of just black and white. We know Saturn, third dimension, is polarized, black and white, and that as we open the third eye and we move out of the lower 5 chakras into the 6th chakra, let thine eye be single And, you know, the crown chakra, single, we move out of polarity, out of division, into unity consciousness. So I just want to encourage, you know, us to, this is be a wonderful time with social distancing, or maybe if we don't have a job, or we're not leaving the house, or we're isolated, or whatever, use it as a retreat, a spiritual retreat. Turn off the phone, turn off the computer, turn off the news. Let go. Let go of the outside, physical, third-dimensional world. What we want to do is balance the polarities. We want to balance this polarity of Aquarius with the social order and the global consciousness and politicians and, you know, society, with Leo. And Leo is my unique individual self-expression. That where I create something original, I create something new. You ever get that idea or that sense or that feeling when you've created something? Like you wrote a song, you wrote a poem, you painted a painting, you know, you learned a new song on the guitar, or you know, you surfed, you know, a higher wave than you ever surfed before, or you've done something new, something different. You've learned a new skill. You've learned a new talent. I want to say that this sun moving into Taurus, okay, is, you know, it's coming up to Uranus, and we've got Mars and Aquarius. These are both symbols and signs around invention and innovation and, you know, creation. And it's very empowering. It's very fulfilling. It's very empowering. And you see yourself in your creations, so it strengthens your sense of identity and sense of self outside of your social role or your job or your Facebook profile. You see yourself in your creations. And this is very empowering, it's very fulfilling, and it can be what? A business. A new source of income, a new way of sustaining myself with food, clothing, and shelter. This is, you know, so I can see the emphasis now moving towards the economy, towards wanting to open things up and people wanting to make money again. And it's like, you know, it's very scary. And all this doubt and insecurity, you know, it has a lot to do with survival. Taurus is earthly physical survival. Yeah, and I've said it for years now. Uranus moving through Taurus from 2019 to 2026 is a time to invent and innovate and maybe have 2 or 3 sources of income, have different things to fall back on. Leo is square Taurus, right? And it is having to do with the 5th house is hobbies. And sometimes your hobbies can become a source of income. You could dabble with astrology on the side and then start doing some chart readings for people, right? You know, and have another source of income. So, you know, this is a time, okay, you know, where we need to create new sources of income. We need to create new businesses. Okay, you know, community-supported agriculture, okay, you know, new food, you know, ordering food online, new ways of doing things online, you know, creating, It's so, you know, this Mercury, Venus, Mars, okay, you know, constellation that's happening this week can really be great. This can be a super nice weekend. I mean, this is going on. You know, Mercury's moving in here Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know, this is a nice Venus trine Mars, Mercury sextile Venus and sextile Mars. It's like, yeah. I want to read you this poem because it's, you know, I printed it out. I read it to my community, you know, and I framed it and I colored it, right, you know, and it's by Rudolf Steiner, and it's very interesting how Rudolf Steiner just even in the early 1900s, he was way down on the press, and just saying, you're not going to get the truth out of the press. The press is driven by special interests. It's either this interest or that interest. Okay, it's this owner's beliefs, or that manager's beliefs, or that political party, or that pharmaceutical company, or that vaccine. I mean, you know, it's lobbyists. This is particularly in the United States. And that kind of just brings me into a whole nother thing. I talked about, you know, it's like a lot of the mentality of the United States has been very strongly influenced by Hollywood, and by movies, and by heroes, and by villains. And, you know, and so it's very interesting. I left the United States, okay, 7 years ago. I moved to Costa Rica. And, you know, this is a very different reality. And I've started traveling, doing workshops around the world for the last 10 years or so. I have a lot of friends in a lot of different countries. And it's very different outside the United States. Okay, and we can maybe put a little bit of the UK, you know, in there too. But, you know, there's this kind of whole kind of scenario. In Costa Rica, number one, you know, the president is on Facebook live regularly. Okay, just like, you know, taking questions, you know, in the Facebook chat. Okay, right, you know, and he's here with the health minister. And, you know, and Costa Rica, you know, they shut down. They've got the best record of anybody in terms of just like, you know, flattening the curve. It's like number one down here. And it's because people trust their leadership, and they trust their health ministers, and they, you know, and they listen. Okay, and they absorb, and they're, you know, they don't go into fear, they don't go into loss of liberty and tyranny, and, you know, this amendment and that, I'm gonna and I gotta buy guns and defend my. It's just like, this is a very pura vida kind of country. You know, there's no military here. You know, 60% of your taxes goes to the military. The United States is a military machine. And it's all about power. It's all about money. It's all about influence. And it's just kind of like, you know, a lot of these theories and all of this anger and all this frustration and all this polarization is going on so much because there's kind of a myopic view that, you know, it's all there is or something. And when you step out of that, okay, you know, and, you know, I've got, you know, Europe, Bali, okay, South Africa, Australia, you know, you start, the world is huge. There's a lot of different belief systems. Here, okay, you know, there's this whole big thing about vaccines. You know, Costa Rica has their own laboratories developing their own vaccines using plasma and the blood from those that have recovered. We've got some folks that have recovered, okay, from COVID-19, and they're doing their, you know, it's not this, you know, worldwide global, you know, we're gonna get, you know, Bill Gates is gonna, you know, shoot us all up. It's just like, you know what, you can find different, you know, different things in different places in the world, and you can, you know, it's like we don't like, we're not, the world is huge. It's huge. And there's a lot of different realities existing simultaneously on this little blue planet, passing through the, you know, passing around the sun. So I wanted to read this Rudolf Steiner thing here and just say that, you know, yeah, we must eradicate from the soul all fear and terror of what comes toward us from out of the future. We must acquire serenity in all feelings and sensations about the future. We must look forward with absolute equanimity to everything that may come. And we must think only that whatever comes is given to us by a world directive full of wisdom. It is part of what we must learn in this age, namely to live out of pure trust, without any security in existence. Trust in the ever-present help of the spiritual world. Truly, nothing else will do if our courage is not to fail us. And let us seek the awakening from within ourselves every morning and every evening. Ow! I'll put it in the notes below if you want to copy paste it. There is a divine intelligence. Whether you think it's Gaia and Mother Earth has her own evolutionary process, or Father Sky, and Creator God, and if you really go outside the box, I could make a long list. In fact, I'm thinking of doing that. On my website, I'm thinking of, I'd like to put down, the Mayan elders I listen to, the shamans I listen to, the grandmothers, from Australia, and, around the world, the 13 grandmothers. I like, Greg Braden. I like Muji. I like Carolyn Mice. There are, global teachers, the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Tibetans, the Dalai Lama. I mean, it's just like there are so many realities that we don't want to just get lost in the screen of YouTube, but to really, when you meditate, you can tap into vast realities from Andromeda and Ceres and the Orions and the Arcturians, and woo, baby! Let's get out of the box. Come on. So anyway, oh man, the mantra for today is what, when surrounded with news, some false and some true, where the whole truth is yet to be known, I stay centered and calmly connect with my friends in the eye of the storm. You know how in a hurricane, it's very still in the center. This is a time where we're in a storm. You saw this whole Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto going on for the whole rest of the year, coming around to the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. And really in 2021, things are going to start taking off. But this is a year of great flux, turbulence, and turmoil. And it's like a hurricane. And what you want to do is you want to stay centered. It's too soon. The truth is not fully known. Stay in that center. Listen to both sides. Listen to all 12 sides. There's 12 signs. There's 12 ways of looking at anything. Just be in this. This is what's beautiful about Venus and Gemini, is a flexibility of thinking and a flexibility of perspective. And this too shall pass, and it will plane out. It will smooth out. The truth will reveal itself. And it's going to be all right. And the more that we really trust ourselves as being connected to the infinite tapestry of life, the less we're going to need to throw bombs and arrows and targets and, shoot down this and villainize that and, follow that and pray. It's just like, oh, yeah. Oh. When surrounded with news, some false, some true, where the whole truth is yet to be known, I stay centered and calmly connect with my friends in the eye of the storm. May you connect with your friends in the eye of the storm. Namaste. Oh, you know what? I forgot. This Sunday, we've got a webinar, a free webinar talking about friends. I'm getting together with like 8 other astrologers, and we're doing this whole summit thing, you know, and it's free. Well, it's a webinar, and it's leading up to the summit. We're doing a week-long astrology summit, May 4 to 10, I think, something like that. You can check it out. I'll put the link below. But yeah, this Sunday we're going to talk about it, and we're going to listen to what's living, you know, what questions you know want. So come to that webinar. I'll put a link for that webinar below too, and maybe we'll connect on Sunday. Yeah. Namaste. Aloha. So much love.